Okay.
This week on Cycling Together, we are welcoming a special guest who's going to help us answer a question we got from TikTok. It's all about how to get your wife on a bike.
All right. You ready?
Let's go.
This is Kristin.
And I'm Steve, and you were listening to Cycling Together, a show about all things bikes, riding, and riding together.
We are recording from beautiful Duxbury, Massachusetts.
Live from Duxbury. If you were watching the video version of this, you should get
or
some
if there's weird
nice
things in the background.
shots of our location.
Yes. All right. Before we get to the interview and welcoming our dear friend, I want to talk about the week you've had at the shop and why you have come home every day looking like you've been attacked by the bicycles or you're going to be playing Pigpen in the Peanuts Roadshow. Because, yes, one day you came home, you had so much grease on you, I thought you had dyed
There was grease on my face.
You looked like Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon. It was all black, which you were getting gray, so it looked you were very furry.
Flavor saver.
You were a flavor saver. You were very fuzzy, so everything was getting trapped. What happened at the shop this week?
You said that every day I came home, and I have no idea. Apparently, it was just a very filthy shop. I normally wear gloves while working on bikes.
Okay.
And, funny enough, I actually think I had gloves on more often this week.
Okay.
And your gloves get disgusting, and then you get like an itch, and you might kind of, you try to rub your chin with like the wrist because you can't do it with your hands.
I don't know. Your clothing was filthy.
And things this week tended to, if they fell on the floor, they tended to go under the workbench. So then I'm down looking on, and of course, the rubber floor mat on the shop, especially underneath the workbench, is not. That's definitely a health hazard under there.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it got a little
everything.
disgusting.
Your
I had a lot of dirty bikes, a lot of dirty drivetrains.
Okay.
Yep.
You had some injuries too. You injured yourself a couple of times. One was with a.
Yeah, one was getting a SRAM crankset bolt off, as most mechanics will know.
Is that a normal? Are SRAM crank bolts known to be particularly sticky?
Yes.
Oh,
and
okay.
the other was I just whacked my knee. And then, was there another one?
It was something about tight tires, or is that just
and tight
general?
tires. Oh, yes. Yeah. Thumb injury from tight tires.
Yes.
Yep.
What does that mean, a tight tire?
So
and why was it tight?
So this is a tire. This is, in this case, a road tire on a road set of wheels. And they were brought in to me to basically say, I don't want to do tubeless on this anymore. Here's some TPU tubes. Put the TPU tubes in.
Okay.
I want to go back to tubes. And the tire was on so tight that it took me 10 to 15 minutes to get the tire off, and basically losing skin on my thumbs. It was brutal. And in fact, I only got one done. I was like, I have to heal for the next 3 days to get the next one done.
What makes one tire tighter than another tire?
It is just that particular combination of that model tire with that manufacturer's rim, and the two of them. You have maybe one tire that's slightly undersized, and you have a wheel that's slightly oversized, and you have just the way the tire bead is and the rim bead is, and they just are so tight, and you cannot get the bead of the tire off. Now, here's the thing. I actually have to. I did get the tube in. Okay. Now I have to test it for how easy it is to get off with a tube in instead of being tubeless. Oh. In some cases, the tubeless setup, it's very difficult. But once you put a tube in, it's not too bad.
Okay.
But if it's just as tight, and it could be, this person will never, ever be able to change a flat on the side of the road.
Oh. Okay.
And when this kind of thing happens, you need to change tires.
Yeah.
As expensive as tires are, that is not an acceptable combination of tire and rim.
Right.
You cannot change the tire on the side of the road if you ever get a flat. You cannot change a tube, I should say. And, you need to get a different tire.
So you'll have to test that.
So I will test that this coming week.
So fun for you. All right. Well, we're going to get straight into this episode because we have a really awesome interview with our good friend Alex, because no offense to you, sweetie, we've decided that the people who should answer the question how to get a wife on a bike are the wives.
Are the wives?
Yeah. So
I believe.
okay, I am here outside. It's so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
With our good friend Alex. Hi, Alex. Hi. We got a question on our TikTok, because, we do that now. Basically asking how to get, it was from a gentleman who said, how do I get my wife to ride a bike? And I thought, oh, what a great question. Who can I talk to about this that's not Steve?
Oh, you wanted to talk to a wife?
Yeah, because there was kind of like, Steve obviously is going to have his thoughts that we will share somewhere in this episode. Full disclosure, we're recording before we record the rest of it, so I have no idea what he's going to say. But I thought, yeah, let's talk to one of my closest cycling friend, absolutely, about how a man can encourage his wife to ride.
It's a slippery slope. No, and it could be very fun too.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yes. So before we get to that, let's have you introduce yourselves to the cycling
all
together,
the people who are cycling
to all
together.
the cycling together community, and just tell me how you started cycling. Just give me a little history on your cycling journey.
Okay, I'm going to start with I'm Alex.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Alex, and I love to ride bikes. And I also would identify myself as a runner. If you ask me what I am, I'll start with I'm a runner. And we've been riding bikes together for, let's say, a decade. Is it more?
I'm fairly sure it's more than that.
Okay.
Because our girls are...
Okay.
Yes.
So we've been riding bikes for a long time together. But we also met at an interesting time, because if you and I had met probably 10 years earlier, I would not have been riding bikes.
That's true.
I would not have been riding bikes.
And I wouldn't have been someone who would be riding bikes with other people necessarily. I was mostly riding bikes just with Steve.
Right. Yeah. So it would so we would not have had this connection, but we would have. But then again, we also didn't think cyclocross was a good idea either, and we figured that out. So
did we?
Helen Wyman helped, but yes.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Right.
Yep. So, so what your question was, like, how did I get into my relationship with cycling?
Yeah, just yes.
So I think, like, just foundationally, like, I always have had a bicycle.
Okay.
So, but for me, I didn't look at cycling as like a sport or a thing to do. Like, it was, I need to go to the store and I have a bicycle and I go there. Like, I wouldn't think about
you don't describe yourself as a driver because you own a car. You
Correct.
Didn't think of yourself as a cyclist because
I have
you
a bicycle.
used a bicycle.
That is perfect. That is perfect. That is yep. I just needed to get to work.
Yes. Okay.
And the bicycle where I was living at the time was the best way for me to get there. So that was But I've always had a bike, and there was one date after college where I went on a really long bike ride, but I did not understand that at all. So we just didn't deal with that.
So, like, somebody you were going on a date with.
Somebody said, wouldn't it be a good idea to go for an 18-mile bike ride? And I thought, and so I borrowed my dad's 10-speed bike, and we did that for a long time. And I thought, this isn't going to work. But
didn't end up with that guy.
But it wasn't really considering it. It was like an event. It wasn't a thing.
Okay.
And then when my husband Jason and I were dating, he was an avid cyclist.
Okay.
So I would come visit him for the weekends, and I would drop him off someplace. He'd ride with me, and then with his bike, and then he'd, bike home 50 miles. And I was like, whatever.
See you at home, sweetie.
Whatever. And he always wanted me to ride with him. And that I didn't really understand. 'Cause I was like, well, where are we going? Do we have to go? Do we have to, like,
back to the car?
Yes.
Are we just going cruising?
Right. Or, my oldest was really little. It was fine to put him on the back of my mountain bike and just go for a bike ride. Like, that was a thing. But cycling, again, I think the way we're talking about it, it wasn't like, let's go for a 20-mile ride.
Yeah.
That would be like, why?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
take our kids outside. That makes sense. And
Yes.
the bike is the mechanism for that. But again, you weren't a cyclist.
100%.
Okay.
100%. And so I came into cycling through triathlon. That was when it was like I would go out and ride a bicycle on purpose. It was because it was one of the 3 things I had to do in triathlon. And I started on an old mountain bike.
Okay.
And which Jason did source for me. And I think that he was just so excited that there was intentional cycling that he would have done anything to make it happen.
Yes.
I mean, he really would have like, do you need me to inflate your tires for you? What can I do?
Right. I do think as we get into this, the stories when that switch flips for a woman, for a wife, the enthusiasm for the husband who has been trying to encourage that can be so adorable.
Yes.
Or a little intimidating.
Yes.
Like we had a woman who decided she wanted to do our women's mountain bike ride series. This was the first year. And her husband was so excited. He was like, it's tomorrow. Threw the bike in the truck, sent her on the way. Yeah, it hadn't started yet. It was our leader ride.
Oh.
And so there she was. Hi, Fiona. There she was. She was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I was like, it doesn't matter. You're here now.
You're
let's
now.
Go.
Yep,
but
let's go.
It was just that he was so excited that she had said yes.
Yes.
That he was going to move heaven and earth to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think the enthusiasm is really important. And I will say, if I like think back to it, sometimes it also felt like pressure.
Yes.
I think that was the other thing, because at least for Jason and I, Jason was riding really far, really fast. Like, and it was like, if I can't get out for 2 hours, I'm not going. Like, and so it was a level of intensity where I was like, I'm still trying to figure some things out here, right? Like that doesn't seem. And so part of it was like I loved the support for like the small bites that I was taking, but some of the bigger pieces still felt a little bit like I'm not sure I'm committing to that. So I think part of what was really helpful was to sort of let me say, well, I'm interested in this next thing, versus when I was a kid, if my dad was going to teach me something. Oh, we're going to learn how to ski. Let's go to the Black Diamond. So I think that there's part of it of making it so like you leave whatever the cycling experience is feeling like I did a good job, versus I suck and I should stop doing this and I'm never going to be able, so I think that a lot of it has to do with that context, getting that right.
Yep. Now, so you started triathlon.
Yes.
And what were the distances that you were starting with? Like, were you doing sprint?
I was starting with sprints.
Okay.
So when and on, a heavy mountain bike, so 10 miles was a really good workout.
Yeah.
And I think that what happened for me, it was like, well, I'm never going to be near the top of the pack if I keep riding a mountain bike.
Okay.
Right? Because people were just whizzing by me. And I was like, oh. So it was like, I'm going to have to figure something else out, and getting a little bit more uncomfortable and learning how to do road riding. So that was sort of like, it was that pull like, they are going faster. That, that does kind of look fun to go faster.
Yeah.
So that was part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought a lot about this question since the person posted it, because I also have heard the question a lot of times before. Yes. And my first response, which might be sound a little snippy when I'm asked the question, is usually, does she want to ride a bike?
100%.
What you're describing to me is you taking the inspiration to then find your own way into cycling, kind of with his encouragement, versus him being like,
yeah, it's interesting. I think that's a really excellent point, because even though I was doing the cycling as part of triathlon, there was still a resistance to, do I want to go for a bike ride? Like, to me, that was also still a little bit, like, I don't think I ever would have without more encouragement.
Okay.
And I think that honestly, part of it was just like, it would be fun to spend time together doing this thing. And I like to be outside.
Yeah.
And it was almost better to say to me, Alex, would you like to go do something outside for an hour? Okay. I'd be like, yes. What are we doing? We're going to ride bikes. Oh, okay.
Versus, Alex, would you like to go for a ride?
Like, I don't know if I want to go for a ride, but I'd like to spend time with you. Outside. That would be
being
really great.
Active.
So do you know what I mean? Like, so a sort of finding, like, there was one way where it would feel like What, you want to go hammer out 50 miles? I do not.
Nope.
Nope, I do not. And also on the other side, so the other side for me is, if I had said to Jason, how do I get you to be a runner? He'd be like, oh, we don't do that.
Right. Right.
So, we had to do some trade-offs, right? Like, well, how about you run with me? I'll ride with you.
So for a while, it sounds like bikes were still kind of a means to an end. Bikes were a piece of the triathlon thing, but they weren't necessarily. Yeah. You still weren't describing yourself as a cyclist.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And it took me, I think, actually for me, I think it was really helpful to do some different kinds of cycling events, but not with my husband.
Okay.
So doing like women's rides was really fun for me because, I don't know, it gave me a space to talk about the things, like to not know a lot and to like be like, can I wear my underpants underneath the bike shorts or no? That's not good. We don't do that. And it was sort of a different place to ask those things. And like, I didn't know about like which chamois creams for like, and what is this thing that's happening over here on this part of my chafy bits? Like, it was really nice to be with women. Like, what is this new thing?
Yeah.
Ow. Like, I used to be, no. So I think, honestly, part of it was also just, I had decent enough equipment. That was really helpful. He really helped me with that. And he was really good at that part. But then I also sort of needed to find some people who I could ask other questions that he couldn't necessarily answer for me, or to really be a beginner with, to be fine getting lost, to be fine not being able to do clips and all that, just to sort of normalize just being there for a little while and and it was fun. It was silly. Like, we were able to laugh at each other.
How did you find those people?
They kind of, I guess they found me, or I met them because I met them through friends. Like, there's going to be this women's ride. Do you want to do that? Sure. Why wouldn't I want to do that?
Right.
And I think, and like the Danskin series for the sprint triathlons, that was hugely important. And it sort of it made me feel like I had a place to learn where there wasn't going to be so much judgment.
Right.
So that is part of what made it easier for me. I will say that, like, with Jason and I riding together, like, we have figured out things that make it more fun now.
Okay.
Like, so things we have learned is, like, when we were riding together in the beginning, we were both on the road. He would go fast and then kind of come back and do circles while I caught up on a hill. And I felt really bad about myself. So, and then I said, that makes me feel kind of bad, and we don't do that anymore, right?
Right. Oh, could you not do circles around me?
Could you not? Yeah. That doesn't make me feel good.
Bored.
Because I know you can go fast, right?
Yes.
So I think, honestly, so if the question is, like, how can I get my wife to ride with me? I mean, part of it is, and I've had to do this when I run with Jason, like, I need to run with him.
Yes.
I can run at a faster pace, or I can run with him and be with him and have a conversation, because that's what I'm doing today.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily hammering.
Yes.
I'm running with him. And so it's the same thing. Like, if you're going to ride with me,
ride with me. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I know you can climb this hill really fast.
Yes.
And then the second piece is, like, I also know you can ride this hill really fast because your bike is so much better than my bike.
Right. And I do think obviously we've had the show where we talk about that it's important that your wife have I'm not even going to say a better bike, but a decent bike, or a bike that works for them.
Yes.
My thing, as I really started to get into cycling, that Steve and I had to have a conversation about, was my bike has to be my bike.
Yes.
That my bike cannot be your extra bike.
Yeah.
My bike can't be the bike. Do you remember?
I do.
We were supposed to go on a ride.
Yes. Small window.
And small window was open, and he had taken the pedals off of my bike. And I was in tears.
Yeah.
I was devastated. So that was a really important moment for both of us, I think. For me to really understand my stuff had to be ready.
Yep.
And I really had to claim my stuff. Like, I really had to, yes, take some responsibility for it, but just in general, like, make sure there was an expectation that I have my stuff.
Yep. And I think similarly, like, I don't know if you had this, but like some of the things for me when I was thinking about riding and things like that was like, if Jason sort of was always my mechanic, if I got into a pickle, like you know what I mean? Like, so I kind of would be limited in what I thought I could do, because in case I got into trouble, like,
right.
would I just call somebody and they'd come pick me up, which was my solution for a while.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, maybe I should know how to change a flat. And like some of those things also made it so that I could ride more enjoyably. Like, so like a lot of it. So I think, you know, at the end of the day, I think everybody is going to have different things that they need.
Yes.
But I do think that with most women that I have met as new riders, I think that husbands can be incredibly supportive and help get us started. And I think it's always great to have other women to support you while you're getting your cycling legs underneath you. I think that honestly was the biggest thing that helped it stick for me. I think the other thing is, for a long time I didn't get it. And I think we've talked about this before. I would go for a bike ride and I'm used to feeling miserable after a run, and I didn't have that same feeling. So it was sort of changing expectations, right? But yeah, so I think if it's gonna be fun, it should stay fun.
Yes.
If that's or if you agree that you both want to go out and suffer, then you should. But whatever it is, I think those are the most important things I think that we needed to overcome.
Yeah, and one of the things I was thinking about, again, as I thought about this question, was for Steve and I, how much more is on my brain than on Steve's, or Steve may even realize, right? Where, so anytime he could help me prepare, like, just, this is especially when the kids were younger and you're the thick of it. So I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to go out for a ride, but is Anders where he needs to be? And when do we have to be back?
Right.
And where is my helmet?
Right.
And so if I could come downstairs and he had my snacks, he had my water bottle, he had my shoes, he had my helmet.
Yep.
And so like, he can't necessarily lift the mental burden.
Yep.
But if this was important, that he wanted to go for a ride with me,
that would help.
It was like, it helped immensely. Right.
Yep.
Or even to be like, hey, don't worry about it. I know what the schedule is, right? Even now, we talked just on our walk, we were talking about how, you know, he's like, I'm kind of resigned. We're not going to do van trips until the fall. And that's because, I look at the weekend like, well, do the kids need me home?
Right.
Do the kids want me home? Do I want to be home for the kids?
Yeah, I mean,
where he's like, where are we going?
Yeah, and I mean, and it's so funny because that is so sort of adjacent to things, because part of when Jason and I were first dating and JD was so young, like he would take off and go on like these 3+ hour rides, and I didn't have that time with my kid. And so part of like, and I don't know everybody's circumstance, so the question's really interesting, but honestly, like at that point in time, like if Jason was like, let's, have you ride more, if he was like, I hired a babysitter, honestly, that would have been the thing that would have helped me the most in that moment, right? Or I cleaned the kitchen, or I packed the lunches so you don't have to, so now you have the time to do it. There's a million things that also add up to having the space and the mental space, like you're talking about, to do it too. And it's, Jason and I have like just a very similar thing with you, but also different. When sometimes I have a hard time if someone packs all my stuff for me, because if something's not in there, then I get really pissy. So we also have sort of a rule that we each are responsible for what's in our things, even if the other person helps by laying it out.
Yeah.
Because we've gone places without things.
You still need to check.
I mean, my shoes aren't here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it's a different place now than, again, when the kids were 8 or 10. The difference for me from what you're talking about is I started before we had kids. And also before we had all these, I wasn't raised. It took me years to get to a point where I was either riding by myself or honestly, you're one of my first cycling friends, given
and you're such a cycling badass. Like, it would be hard.
Cycled.
I know, but it was so hard for me to wrap my head around that.
But it was just me and Steve. Like,
right?
I just rode when Steve was riding. I rode with Steve. I rarely rode on my own. And just, imagine what that would have been like if I had found friends.
But I think also it's funny because I think one of the, like, I look at sort of like these growth spurts in cycling, like sort of like these milestones I reached. And I think one of the milestones was, printing out a 25-mile route, like having the turns written on a piece of paper that were taped onto my bike because I had no bicycle computers.
Yeah.
And a girlfriend and I went out and we rode 25 miles.
Right.
I don't know that we were fit enough to do this, but the fact that we did it together, it really helped with my confidence about being able to do things. And I don't know what it is, but it was sort of just allowing yourself to sort of be in that new thing. And I do think, because you and I have tackled lots of new things together.
Yes.
Something about having a girlfriend go through it with you also is really wonderful. So Jason can help. Like, you're going to watch the kids. I can go ride with Kristin. That helps me ride with him more. It all adds.
Oh, no,
it all goes
absolutely.
together.
Because I think a big jump for me was also, and where we met, we met with the kids, but I was getting into triathlon. You were already in triathlon. It was the first time I was really riding solo, but it was in the triathlon. I'm going to go. He's working.
Yes.
He's here, but he's not.
Yep. But off
riding,
you go.
But off I go. And then, I found you and I found Nancy and it was like, oh, we're going to, that's where my cycling really jumped to the next level, because I think that's around the time where I was like, I think I'm going to commute to work on my bike. And he was like, by yourself? I was like, I can do that.
Yes.
I think I can do that.
Right.
And I came down to see you, and we did the Rafa 100, and you both sang Closer to Fine to me, because I was like, if it had been with Steve, I would have murdered him. I would have been like, this sucks.
I think there were French fries too.
Oh,
right?
we definitely stopped for McDonald's French fries. But it was just that no, I'm not going to turn into a complete beast right now. These lovely friends of mine who are helping me.
Right. And then you have 100 miles underneath your belt, and now you're like, oh, well, what else could I do?
Right.
Like, I can do lots of things. So I think each one of those little confidence building things, and I think, we're talking about husbands and wives, but I think there's a lot of evidence that women get really, we lack the confidence if we haven't done the thing yet.
Yes.
Men tend to be more confident about predicting that they'll be able to do the thing.
Just assuming, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Both sides have their pluses and minuses, but so part of it is it's like sort of the opportunity to practice in a really supported, comfortable, you don't have to know the thing and it's okay sort of way. Yeah. I think that it helps the whole experience. The other thing which I think is funny is you're talking about my bike is my bike. Yeah. When your wife does get into it and she has more bikes than you, like right now, Jason's gravel bike is broken and my mountain bike is his bike. So I don't know. So it's worth figuring it out.
Oh, it's so worth figuring it out. And there is that confidence of, to your point, learning how to, like last Sunday, I cleaned the bikes and I took the rear wheels off and I was cleaning the cassettes and there's a confidence to that I haven't had over the years. But, I think this is all I keep coming back to it's not so much for you to get your wife on a bike. She needs to want to do that. But it is, what you can do is do all the things to help her.
Right.
When she makes that decision that she does want to try.
Right. And I think there's also something that's, there's a sweetness to it if you kind of actually back the whole thing up, which is really sweet. When Jason and I, we were sort of it's not because I just want you to go hammer. I really like doing this thing and it would be fun to do it together.
Yes.
I mean, that's at the end of the day, okay.
Yeah.
If that's all we're doing is just doing this thing together, that sounds great.
Well, I did ask our women's mountain bike group. I was like, do any of you have any tips?
Oh, great.
And one immediately, Kyla got back to me. She was like, I have
tips.
So many thoughts. And she started riding during the pandemic. We're actually hoping to have her and her husband on. But she said, make sure the first experience on the bike is good. Yep. An easier course, plenty of breaks. Make sure she knows how to change gears, etc. The times I've witnessed a negative experience, they didn't know what they were signing up for, had mechanical issues, or had trouble keeping up. Now, she's a mountain biker, so I think some of this is in there. A co-ed group ride, not a great place to bring your wife unless it's people she knows.
Yeah.
And I will say I had one friend was telling us he brought his daughter, who's a grown-up, to PMC Unpaved and was like, okay, go. And apparently at the end, she was like, no, that was bad. I hated that. And I was like, that is not the right first ride, guy. No. That's not where you start.
No, Jason, when in the beginning when we met, he was doing a lot of mountain biking.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to mountain bike in the Ashland State Forest with him.
Ooh.
And again, like my limited experience had been triathlon, so that's straight lines, right turns, straight lines, right turns. And I'm still not a good mountain biker. I get really scared doing it. So it was also so that was the wrong entry point for me, even though I had signed up for Nextera. But
the wrong bike, the wrong type of discipline.
It wasn't like, so it was too much of a challenge for me.
Yes.
Like I think to her point about the win, like I think we're all fine with a little challenge. Like what but like what do I actually know how to do? If I don't know how to clip in yet, that could be a win if I just figure that out that day. Like that,
right.
You know, so I think that's a really excellent point.
Right.
Like, make it all a win.
Make it all a win. Make it bite-sized chunks, as you said. Have a nice break and a
bike ride to the ice cream shop, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Because also the place you just described, Ashland State Park, is so rooty.
Oh.
It is, of all the places that I would, even in the town of Ashland, our town forest would be a better choice. But it's still, really it's the rail trail you should have gone on.
And I think that
sandy.
You and Steve and Jason have spent the rest of our cycling careers together saying, Alex, nothing's that bad.
Yes.
Like there are other places to mountain bike that are actually nice, So we've had to overcome the trauma of that experience all the time. And that's my association sort of with mountain biking.
Right.
Where my association with road biking, even cyclocross wasn't as scary because we came in at a better entry point for me. And that made a huge difference.
And again, I mean, cyclocross, we immediately found a community of
fast.
Women.
Yep.
So fast. And, because it's also set up with this like beginner entry, novice racers, women racers, age by age. You're like, look at all of these other ding-dongs who have decided to do a thing and also are very, very honest about how it's going. I will never forget Nancy telling us she had recorded she was also a triathlete.
Yes.
And she had recorded her first cyclocross race with the GoPro, and she heard herself going, I thought I was in better shape. Yeah, you were.
Just for that sport. And I think that's the fun. I know that's been such a funny thing about cycling. Every kind of cycling is like, this is a different sport now.
Yes.
I mean, so it is that is a little bit hilarious.
Yeah.
And some things transfer and some things don't. But yeah, that part is really funny.
I'm going to go back to gear for a minute.
Okay.
I do think, I don't want you to spend a lot of money, but I want you to have not just your own bike. I want you to have your own jersey that fits you properly. I want you to have your own shorts. I don't necessarily want you borrowing your husband's short. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to make it just a small.
Yep.
Doesn't take a lot.
It makes a big difference. And I guess it also...
So that you're comfortable.
And it depends on what's the cycling you want to do with your life. So that could be different. So something that's appropriate for it. The other thing I'll say, which made a huge difference for me because I didn't have the experience, is when somebody fit me onto my bicycle the first time, I had no idea that your back didn't have to hurt. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh. So I think also, too, even if you had somebody who, like, you could look at somebody on their bicycle to make sure they're fit and they feel comfortable. But nobody actually even said to me, when you're on the bicycle, you should feel comfortable. I thought when I was on the bicycle, I was just supposed to feel this bad, and my back was. I thought this was that was just cycling.
Why would people want to do this?
Nobody said to me, like, if this doesn't feel right, you're not set up right.
And had you ever said to someone, my back hurts regularly?
I just thought that was.
You just thought that was no. I
just thought that was
now
part
that
of
you
cycling.
Say it. Yeah.
And somebody looked at me and they were like, "Are you comfortable?" And I'm like, "I'm fine."
But
again, my first 10-speed bike was my dad's, and he and I weren't the same size.
Yeah,
but
and the other thing I think that's important when you ride with someone who is a very experienced rider, I think there's and a male. There's two things: is how they know to ride, the things they know to do. Yes. It's like asking them how they breathe. right? So it can be really hard to get advice from Steve on how to ride because like he just doesn't necessarily know how he does something. He just does something.
Yep.
The second is female bodies don't always do things the same way as the male bodies.
Female bodies are very complicated. Let's just say that they're very complicated and they have a lot of parts.
Yeah.
And like, so to be able to like understand that like the answer, oh yeah, you just do this, isn't always true.
Right. First of all, I'm not going to like that answer
No,
because that's how my brain works.
It's not going to fix anything.
That's not going to fix anything. I may be proportionally different.
Yes.
Like we had our women's ride recently and we were going to do a big roller, which one of the riders like, you can't ride that. I was like, no, you can. We're going to do it right now. It's so exciting. And two of them, one of the husbands had been telling them how to do rollers. And they explained to me, well, he said, don't shift your weight too far back because, well, just don't. It should be about here. It shouldn't be behind the saddle. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I did it. I did it myself. And she goes, you were really far behind the saddle. And I said, yes, I was. And so we just explained kind of the mechanics of it, that I was further back than he had recommended she be, but I was also very low so I could put some more weight on the front tire. And I was like, there's two things of this. Either I'm just using different words, that I'm describing it differently so that you understand it differently, or my body's proportioned differently than his. And so for me, this is how it works better. And so it was really just interesting. I was like, he can be an excellent rider.
Yep.
But his strength is in a different place than yours. His proportion in a different place.
Women's center of gravity is in a different place than men's center of gravity, and that's going to change things around.
Yeah.
And I also, I think that back to like sort of mixing it up and having women to ride with in addition to riding with your husband, it's helpful because like, what Jason was telling me was the way that he's figured out how to do it and the way that works for him versus like these are 5 options that I've seen. Try one.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, that's how you do. So and it wasn't on him, but I took it as this is how I have to do it. And it was like, it's not really working, but I'm going to do it,
Right.
So there's just something about, I think, the variety.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, we'll figure it out. Right.
Yes.
So I think that like when Jason and I in the early rides, we did really well if he was making suggestions versus telling me what to do or offering some choices that I could try out. So that was definitely helpful. I mean, and it's just so funny. I mean, the early days were so funny because like I know street signs, he knows landmarks. And so we had a very hard time with a lot. I mean, some of it was just silly when I look back at it.
Yeah.
But if like we were both in the mindset of this is really silly.
Yes.
We should stop and get something to eat or something like that. That helped.
Yep.
That helped a lot. And we got to the place where we would go out and hammer.
Yes.
For 50 miles.
Yes.
But we couldn't have started there.
Yeah. I'm having one thing that as you're talking about this for years, I finally told him he just has to stop it. Like we would be mountain biking and say there's a rock wall and I don't go over it. He would go, oh, you could have done that. And I finally was like, you need to stop saying that. It just pisses me off.
Yes.
I know you're trying to be encouraging. I get but actually it turns out it's a complete trigger for me. But I also just had a complete revelation right now as you were speaking. Because so we do these rides on Friday nights and we talk about it all the time that it is not a no-drop ride. It's a hang on for your life and hope you get back to the end ride. And I get grumpy about it every time. And I realize right now why I get grumpy about it. Beyond the whole, like, somebody could get hurt, I could get lost. I don't go to the Friday night ride to ride with the group. I go to ride with Steve.
Yes.
And I'm recognizing right now that it's bothering me because he's obviously there to ride with the group.
Yes.
So he doesn't stay with me.
Yes.
And I feel abandoned.
Oh.
Just had a major milestone. And it's okay. Like, I just need to recognize that when we're on this ride, I have to go to that ride to ride with the group, not to ride with Steve. And I just can't.
Yeah.
I just get so angry at them.
And to go back to like again, I'm going to go back to the sweetness of the question because like how like so if like I think if I think about someone asking this question in a way like I really would like to go for bike rides with my wife.
Yeah.
If that's how the question's being asked and you're going to go ride together, I mean, I think that's the whole conversation to have. Like, I'm going to be with you. Like, even if I'm going with the guys, I'm just going to be with you. Like, making sure that's clear is, I think, just incredibly important. Sometimes, I think in the beginning, I felt like Jason wasn't saying, like, I just want to go ride bikes with you. I felt like sometimes he was saying, you should do this.
Right.
Because he has a positive experience of it, wants me to have a positive experience. It's good exercise, all the things, but I really don't like shoulding. Like, don't tell me what I should be doing. Like, so that became a different thing that then we had to overcome that because then I didn't want to go for a bike ride.
Right. And then, I mean, there is also
there's a lot of head trash.
There's a lot of stuff in your head. And you like when we do mountain bike rides and we say this is a no drop ride, what we often say is, Kristin is the sweep. It is her job to be the last. So you can tell her to just go. She is not going to.
She won't.
And they'll go, but I feel badly. No, we set the rules and you don't have to, no apologies.
Seems like a waste of energy
right,
to do that,
seems
but
like
go
a waste
for
of
it.
energy.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, even though Steve was saying, I want to ride with you, we're going to do a ride, it's that spinny thing. Because he used to do the same thing. It doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't.
Feel. But when he finally hit a rhythm where he was like, I'm just going to go behind you. I'm going to let you set the pace.
Yes.
I'm going to just look at your bum the whole time. It's great. That's what I want to do.
Is this a PG podcast? What's
no,
happening?
It's not. We'll be talking about Saddle Source next. No, I think then it starts to feel less bad.
Yes.
I'm not chasing. There are these memes of like, my boyfriend riding his bike and then me riding my bike. Boop, 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 boop. And I keep saying, I need someone to do that in reverse. I need the wife to go flying by and the husband to be like, doopy, 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 because I know they're out there where the wife was the first.
Oh, absolutely. And also,
get on it, guy, with your women, somebody.
But, well, I was just going to say, but like, be careful what you ask for.
Right.
Also, too, because there have definitely been times in mine and Jason's, and I think you've probably had it with Steve, like in our training cycles, when there have been things that I've been training for, which have required an enormous amount of endurance and power.
Yes.
And there have been whole phases of our riding together where I may have been going past him on hills very fast.
I
and
needed
that may
you to
not
do
have
it.
felt very good.
No.
But
exactly.
Something but it was also okay, right? Like
right.
But that did happen also. So be careful what you wish for because you might get to watch your wife go by you up the hills.
Yeah.
That could happen, or go over some kind of like do the rollers that you couldn't do, or go over the wall that you actually couldn't do. That happens.
Here's the other thing. There's the new phase challenge.
Ooh.
So I went for a ride on Friday morning with a group, small group. It was mixed terrain, but I was on my mountain bike, and it's 3 guys, Steve and these 2 other guys, and Steve and one of the guys goes, okay, so you can, the left is a down and a drop, and then, well, Kristin, you can go to the right where the stairs are. It'd be great.
Tip, don't do that.
And so they didn't ask, what would you like to do? So they go off, and the 3rd guy says, you can do it. And I was like, can I? He goes, yeah, you can. He's ridden with me enough times. He goes, yeah, you can do it. And sure enough, it was probably the highest, because I don't jump off things, came down, and it's a drop. Right. So I dropped the front tire, and I kept going. And I came up to Steve afterwards. I was like, that's not okay. That's not okay.
That's not okay.
Tell me what it is. We are at the point in my cycling now where I've got more skills, definitely.
A lot more.
And tell me what's to come, and then let me choose.
I think, And so first of all, you not only do you have a lot more skills, you just have a lot of skills.
Aw. You can come on the show anytime.
Okay. That costs you $5. No, but you do. You have a lot of skills. And I think that's part of also the natural part of cycling with partners and things like that, because there were definitely rides, and it just made me think of it like where Jason was thinking about where my riding skills used to be sometimes. And I'd be like, no, that's not the option for me anymore. Like, again, you can describe it for me and let me make my choice.
Yes, that's all I'm saying.
That's great.
Right.
But like, I can do these things
right.
now, right? Yeah. So you also like you have to let
we are so complicated.
We are again very, very well.
Yeah.
And
yet
so
not.
You said like,
that
like you'd like to have this in reverse. I mean, Jason and I in running, this was in reverse.
Yes.
And I, from the experience of being the person coming into the sport, like, yeah, I may have had the tendency to want to run in circles around. But like, it's like, okay, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
And you want to run with him. Like you want to run together, so run together, right?
Yes.
And so it's been really helpful.
Come back to that.
Yep. Really, really helpful. If we're going to do it together, let's be together.
Yeah. So sounds like find the right discipline, make it fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, I don't want to make it sound like with all this conversation that it's actually not overly complicated.
It's not overly complicated. I think, if Jason, like, okay, so I am a coach, but I'm not going to get over coachy. But if Jason had said to me, okay, I'd like to do this thing together, is there something about that sounds scary or bad to you?
Yes.
And I just got to like kind of riff about like, well, let me give you the list of things that sound scary. And like, we just picked them off. Also, like we probably could have gotten there faster, but I can only say that with hindsight.
Of course.
Right. But just to normalize.
If we could all be so mature
right,
and.
But is that, but like, so
yeah.
if my kids were like, I want to start cycling, I'd be like, okay, what part do you feel comfortable with?
Yes.
And what do you feel, what is keeping you from doing, or what feels scary?
Yeah.
And like we could do that. Like, so it's that simple.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't think you have the right shorts. Okay, we'll go buy shorts, right? Or
yes.
So okay, great. But like, so sometimes just very simple is helpful too.
This has been so
this
great.
Is so much
Thank
fun.
you so
and
much.
It's so good that our husbands got us to ride.
I will say.
I mean, so I also don't. I have a hard time defaulting to he got us to ride or they got us to ride. Also,
yeah,
that's my thing.
That's back to my does she want to ride?
Exactly.
Right? Like when I look back,
yes,
I did not own a bike. I had not owned a bike for probably since I had been in high school, and even then, I'm not sure it was mine. It was probably my mother's.
Okay,
right?
Yep.
I was a rollerblader. And when
also
we met,
cool.
he
also so many more
cool,
wheels.
So Gen X. Come on. Like, is there anything more Gen X than I was a rollerblader? And so when we met, he was a big mountain biker. I don't remember him necessarily being like, do you want to ride? We should ride. We should get a bike. I do believe I was the one who said, that seems fun.
Yes.
You are a person I like. This is a thing you like.
Yep.
I am game to give this a try.
Right.
And what he's been really good about is not allowing, but supporting each of my evolutions, right? Because I started in mountain biking, which, I mean, honestly looked like just a hybrid bike because we didn't have my first trek didn't have
no shocks.
There was no shocks.
Big tires.
Yep. To then we had the kids, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna ride with you. But I think we should go on the road because I don't have the strength or the patience to also go over rocks. Like, I will climb this hill.
Like a rail trail sounds perfect.
Yeah,
for this.
and roads are good. And so with each kind of evolution, when I said, I mean, I often would joke when he stopped buying me bikes, I would start to worry. Like, because he used to build me bikes off of, she rode this twice. I'm going to sell it and buy another frame on eBay and build her another one. But he was always there to say, if that's the thing you want to try, we will make sure you have a bike for it, and I will ride with you. But it wasn't him getting me on a bike. It was him being there when I was ready. Yeah,
it's kind of like flowers, because when you and I decided that we were going to take a cyclocross lesson.
Yes.
I remember Jason hopped on eBay and he found me a frame and he built me a bike. And it was like, I heard you had a mild bit of interest in this thing that I really like. Here's a bike, so it's very sweet because he's really again saying, I'm so excited we might get to do this thing together.
It's kind of like
it's so cute.
What we would do with the kids. Like the minute my child said, I might be interested in this activity, I was like, here you go.
Do you want lessons? What do you need?
Would you like, sure.
I've hired you an Olympic coach.
Exactly. So, I don't want to say they got us on bikes, but they have always been very encouraging.
If there was a glimmer of interest.
Yes.
But I think, if there's a glimmer of interest in something that somebody wants to do with you that you really love doing, support the hell out of it.
Yeah, and then when they see, like we have one of our women riders, she came into our ride 5 years ago, not really liking group rides, definitely had cried at some. She came into our women's rides. She has become a stronger rider. She's our leader of all of our, what I call the welcome group.
That's
like
awesome.
And her husband on the regular, I guess, whenever it comes up about, say, funding our rides, because we do get sponsored, he's very quick to say, my wife is a better, happier, more confident rider because of these rides. And they then come out to these same trails and they ride them together without us. So it's just, that encouragement.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. It's kind of, I guess it's a little bit like, finding friends and finding community that can support you where you are.
Yeah. Exactly.
It all matters.
It's fantastic. It does. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you very much for bringing the show here.
Oh, yeah. Seriously. So, okay. We're going to take a break, and I guess I'll bring Steve back.
I can make room on the couch.
Fine. Okay.
I'm back.
You're back. Welcome back. So I'm sure you heard that whole interview with Alex.
Right.
Before we wrap up this show,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I thought we could talk about as you reflect back on my journey as a cyclist is maybe some of the things that you think you got right when it came to this, and maybe some of the lessons we learned along the way. Right? Like, let's talk about my equipment.
Well, yes, I have learned the lesson of not to mess with your equipment or take parts off of it. That's for sure.
Right.
Right. There's always there was always the tinkering. Oh, I could just take this. She won't need it till next week. And of course, inevitably you went to ride your bike the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. As I became more of a solo rider, when you realized that I was going to be riding without you, so you couldn't necessarily get away with taking my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We did also learn the important lesson of you could no longer sell a bike without the bike being ready for replacement. Right? You sold Hillary.
That is true. I did. Yes.
And
yes.
then I was without mountain
now,
bike.
Sometimes that was planned, like a planned selling that I should have thought ahead of, and sometimes it was spontaneous. I wasn't really quite planning on selling it right now, but the opportunity suddenly came up, and there it goes.
You know what? You only did it once that I really remember it being a problem, and it was the black and blue Scott that I named Hillary. I don't remember if that was a planned sale or just a spontaneous sale, but I went weeks without a mountain bike, and I think I was getting into mountain biking.
Right.
But other than that, I don't remember there being big jumps of like, you really just sold a bike out from under me.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
the road bike, the Scott road bike, the gray one.
But I agreed to that.
Yeah, that's true. You
That's
did agree
different.
to that.
I don't think. And I had a bike to ride.
Yep.
Right. I was riding my gravel bike, and I was like, I can just ride that. And if I need a new road bike, so that was a little different because we were part of that. I was part of that. I guess not so much like wrong or right, but just things maybe in hindsight that we could have done differently, that we look back at and we think, oh, that would have changed.
Yeah, I think we should have gotten you into other groups earlier on and riding with other women and sort of finding your other people as well instead of just relying on riding with me, right? And that would have, I think, enhanced both the experience for you and the skills and just and then made riding together a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think the biggest change I would have made to the whole journey, and it just didn't, I think it just goes to how young I was when I started, and we just didn't have the resources we have today. Like, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have websites with, like, clubs and stuff like that. But I probably rode a bike for 10 years before I really started to fly on my own. Where Alex got into triathlon, so she was immediately into it in a different way. I would say that's the biggest maybe missed opportunity I had. But in general, it's been great. But I think the big thing is recognizing that it wasn't about you getting me on a bike. It was about you encouraging me to ride a bike.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. Well, if anyone has questions or tips on how they're encouraging their wives to get on a bike, we are love to hear them, so they can definitely send them our way. And I think that is it for us for now.
Okay.
Right? Cycling Together with Kristin and Steve is a production of Steve the Bike Guy, an independent bike shop in Eastern Massachusetts, and Sundin Marketing, a full-service marketing communications agency.
If you like the show, please leave a review or share with a friend. For show notes, links, or to leave a comment, question, or topic suggestion, visit cyclingtogether.bike.
You can follow the shop and leave questions on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Steve the Bike Guy.
Okay, well, thanks for joining the ride, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.